got the hatch car over here painted because I'm going to be painting the parts now, so I had to get it out of the way. Put some insulation up in the doors, which is falling down there. I got to fix it. I just didn't do it right when I did this side over here. I did it better, but try and keep the heat in a little bit better. But I'm over here, rigged up some chains to hang the doors and the hatch from, so I can paint both sides at once instead of one at a time. So I'm going to be hanging these up, and I'll put you on time lapse. So it's the day before Thanksgiving, and today I spent most of the day clearing out the rafters attic space up there on this side, moving everything over there where the plywood is, except for the bumper and that wing. Gotta get that down to sand, but everything else is clear. That way, the metal for the ceiling was ordered yesterday and should have been picked up today. I think Brad said he was going to pick it up today. So I got all that out of the way, so when he's ready to put it up, it can just start going up. Move the lights and outlets is the only thing as he starts putting it up. And then it's all clear for when he blows the insulation up in there. Yesterday, I painted parts for the blue Mustang. I was going to put the doors and such on today, but where it got real cold last night, I didn't leave the heat on in here, and they were still a little tacky today, so I just let them stay in here to help dry. But turned out real nice. The doors look real good. Hatch fenders, small places of trash in them, but not bad. I do really like this clear. It seems to do really good. But I'm just going to show you fenders. Fenders look really good. Sprayed both sides of the hatch. This fender got the most dirt in it, I guess, where the door, when I'd open the door to refill my cup and stuff, some stuff probably came in that way. But other than that, the booth seems to be doing really good. Pretty happy with it. I'm used to working out of a great big old paint booth for semi trucks, so the smaller space I'm trying to get used to. But the chains, they worked really good after I figured out how high I needed to put the doors. When I get the doors mounted on the car, I'm gonna leave it probably about a week before I tape on the door to spray the trim, the door, the top of the door posts black with the trim paint inside and out. I don't want the tape or paper or anything to stick to the fresh paint, so give it a good amount of time to cure. It's hard drying this stuff right now with as cold as it's getting, and I don't have proper heat and everything in here. So, but anyway, that's where we're at. Tomorrow's Thanksgiving. I'll probably record Friday putting the parts on the car. I must have threw away my old paint gun holder. So I had some scrap metal. I probably overbuilt it a little bit, but now I got a paint gun holder for in there in the booth. I was having to prop it up before, but I'll build me a little table and I'll screw it to it so I can have a paint gun holder for now. I didn't feel like buying one, had some scrap metal, so I just made that work. Should work good. Well, it is Wednesday, the week after Thanksgiving. The day before Thanksgiving, I come down with a strep throat, and I'm really bad about waiting too long to go to the doctor, and this time it bit me in the ass, and I got to where my throat was so swollen I couldn't talk, and finally went to the urgent care and got some antibiotics, and I'm starting to feel better now. I'm back into the shop, and I haven't really been recording much of it though, but I got the doors put back on the Foxbody, got the trim painted black like factory. I got the hatch sat on. Holes drilled here for the molding so they can put back on. This is about to the point that they're going to start putting it back together. That they're going to bring me a tinted driver's glass that came out of the old door. Going to put that in there, and then it'll be ready for them to pick up. And so I started on the Nova over here. And I know I haven't went over why it is here, but it's getting painted all over. This car, the man who owns it's 82 years old, I think he said, and it was his son's car. His son, I'm not sure how many years ago, but he passed away in a coal mine, and he's kept it ever since. He's got another old car that he's got that was his son's too, and I meant to ask him how long ago, but he had took this car to a shop up in Kingsport, Tennessee, and they took it apparently all the way down, stripped it, interior out of it, stripped it all the way down to bare metal, glass out of it, everything, and did the work from bare metal to what you see now. Well, I'm not sure where they did it. I'm not sure if they had some temperature issues maybe, or if they just didn't put the right product on it when it was down to bare metal, or what have you, but it has caused major issues now. What is going on is if you can try and pick it up in the camera, but everywhere you see where my finger's at, you can see it real good. All this bubbling is all over the car. It is worse on the passenger side than the driver's side, but it is basically everywhere. The lower half of the car is worse than the top half, but it's basically this right here. The filler that they put on in between the filler and the metal is I guess started to create moisture in between and starting to rust and starting to push the filler out, causing the bubbles. So it's not as bad at some right through here on the driver's side, but the passenger side is, I mean, it is very bad. Like this right here, I just jabbed it with my knife and it came right off. You can see that it's bare metal, but there's just rust forming in between the, I can't really tell if it's just filler on bare metal or if there's some kind of primer and the filler was over top of the primer. I can't verify that or not, but just same with down here. Try and catch some of the, you can see it right through here, which is all down the side, but everywhere. Come down to the door. The door, I think, is the worst. Look at all that. So I'm gonna have to take it all down to make sure it don't come back. But it's hard telling how much money this man has spent on this paint job just for it to look like this. This is horrible. When the car, you know, was took down all the way already. I mean, he doesn't want me to take it down. He doesn't want me to take the chrome and stuff like that off. He just wants me to make it look good, which I understand. You know, after he spent maybe $10, $12, $15,000 on this car, and then to turn around, I don't know how long ago it's been painted, like I said, but then to turn around and have me going to paint it all over again. Well, shoot, to take it down all the way down is basically redoing everything. So I feel bad for him, and I can't cut myself for to not be able to make money on it. But it's hard because somebody did a shitty job to this man for this car doing this work, and now, you know, for him to be charged again for the same thing, it's really bad. I feel sorry for the man. And let me grab my light. I'll show you something else. At first glance, you know, like even the trunk in here, he said it was all blasted and stuff like that. At first glance, it looks like they did a pretty good job putting that stuff that normally comes in the trunks. And it looks really good. Nice and solid back here. Don't look like there's no rust. It seems like the car is really, really solid. But you start looking up at the hard places to get. They didn't put anything on it, so it's all surface rust up in the trunk. Look at all that. All that's going to do is cause issues down the road, and all it would have took was somebody to give a little bit more crap about their work or their job to get into the places that the sandblaster had got, to make sure there's some paint on it so it wouldn't cause this. And it looks like they just put this stuff over bare metal. Don't look like there's any kind of primer in between. Looks like they just sprayed this trunk coating over the bare metal. That's like this on both sides. And I'm sure he don't know about it, because I'm sure 80-something-year-old man's not going to twist himself up to look up under the quarter panels. He's going to look in here and say it looks all good, and if he tries to sell it to somebody may end up looking up under there and being like, well, I don't really want this car. It's going to be rusting years down the road and be a mess up through there. So I won't let him know about that, and see if which I don't really know much that I can do about that. It'd be a real pain for me to do it, because it was created with a sandblaster. So to get in there with a wire brush or something like that to rough it up and then use some rust converter is the only thing I know to put on it to maybe try and stop it. But yeah, it's just people's shitty work. It just drives me nuts. Just a little extra effort and a little extra time, and you wouldn't have shit like this. But I guess that's enough complaining. I'm gonna go inside and eat me a bite, and just figured I'd update you on what's going on in the shop and what I got to look forward to. Well, I was gonna start showing you what I got, but put my putty knife over here. Start digging into this Nova, and I showed you the places I just popped this off the other day with my pocket knife, and over here you can see how it was starting to rust back behind the filler, and I couldn't tell if it was just filler over the metal or if there was any kind of primer on the bare metal, because like I said, they supposedly took this car all the way down to bare metal and did the work from there. And I'm not sure if they put any kind of primer or anything on it before they started doing the body work. So I started getting into some of the bad places down the side here, and it wasn't really wanting to flake off with the putty knife. So I started grinding into it, and what it looks like to me is it is filler with no sort of primer, epoxy primer, etch primer, or anything between the filler and the metal. So you can just see that it just flakes off. What has happened is it's created, I guess, had to have created moisture in between the filler and the metal. Started to form surface rust and just separate the filler. The moisture was probably going through the filler. See the same area through the filler, and started, you know, bubbling the actual paint on the outside, which I mean, it's down to bare metal for sure. And this is one of the things that I was talking about in one of my last videos, that coupe car that I was working on. You know how I was taking it all the way down to bare metal, and before I put even before I put any of the primer that you see on the outside, the gray primer, which is supposed to adhere to bare metal, but you need to have some sort of, like on this car here, if it was all took down to bare metal, as far as I know, before you do any kind of body work or anything like that, it needs to have some sort of epoxy primer put on it first. That way your body work has something to adhere to on the body. Now, when you're doing a car that's just got a few spots here and there that's you got to fix some dents in, and you grind it down to bare metal and you fix the dent, it don't need no primer before you put the filler on. But if you're working a whole car like this right here, they probably skim coated the whole car, pretty close to the whole car with filler before. And as far as I know, you need to have some sort of epoxy primer, some kind of self-etching primer down before you start doing that. You may not, but I could see this would be the reason why. This would be the reason why you would want something like that, but I could be wrong. But this is my best guess of what's happened here. Something has not sealed the metal from gaining moisture. And the only thing that I could think is that it didn't have some sort of primer barrier to keep the moisture getting to the metal. So that's my thoughts on it. I mean, as far as I know, the thing's going to have to be took down to the metal. Now, this man, he's already paid somebody, I don't know how much money, to do this once. I'm sure when he comes to check it out, he's going to be heartbroken about this. But you know, to do it right, I would expect that all the windows there, all the trim, everything like that needs to be took out. It need to be stripped all the way back down to bare metal and start over. Now, he's not going to want to pay for something like that again after he's already done it once, which is, it may have been quite a few years ago since he's done it, but that is the right way to do it. As far as what I'm going to do, I'm probably going to try and get by with the best way to do it without having to go that far. Just to let him have a nice looking car for as long as he's going to be able to enjoy it. It sucks. I mean, there's only a couple ways you can do it though. I mean, I'm kind of rambling. It's not really the words that I'm looking for, but some people just can't afford to be screwed over like this and then have to be redone all over again. Now I can get by with doing it the way I'm going to still let him have a pretty nice car that's presentable, that shouldn't have issues. The only places that the way I'm going to do it, I want to take it all the way down except for around the windows and stuff like that, and hope that you don't have no issues with this type of bubbling, which it's only really this side is the worst. The driver's side's not too bad, and it's only like the bottom half of the car. So hopefully, like the top don't have any bubbles on it, little spots on the quarter does, but hopefully around all the edges and everything like that is going to be all right. The door jambs and everything like that don't seem to have any bubbles in it. So I'm going to strip down the majority of everything, probably not the top unless I dig into it and it's looking like it's trying to rust underneath it. Like here, I may hit a couple spots and look at that, but just do the best I can with what I'm going to be able to he's going to be able to afford to do to make the car look good. And that's where we're at, because like I said, he's not going to want to spend as much money as he did already to do it. I mean, some people may be all right with that. Some people may have enough money to where they can do that, and it may bother them, but they'd fork it out. But some people can't. Some people can't afford to be screwed over like this and then have to pay out the same amount or even more to do it again. So this really goes to you need to do some research and know who you're taking your car to have work done. Now I'm not saying I'm no better than the person that did this work here. Maybe they just didn't know at the time. I don't know if it was a big shop or a small shop that was just doing the best they knew how to do and whatever, but it's just something to look into when you're taking your car to somebody to have it painted, and you're looking to save a couple $1,000s. It could bite you in the ass in the long run, is what I'm trying to say. But enough rambling. I'm gonna get back to work on it.